Hello, my loves. You are about to watch the replay of the Anxious to Anchored Masterclass. Now, I really tried my best to cram in as much as I could in the 2 hours that we spent together. Of course, we cannot go through everything, but I really hope that this class is of value to you. So I really encourage you to go through this masterclass slowly, pausing when you need to really soak up and absorb all the information being shared. And if you wait until the end, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how we can go deeper together with my brand new online program called Securely Attached. And if this is piquing your interest, you can find out more at sammyreedcoaching.com/securely attached. You'll also find the link in your email if you want to go ahead and join the waitlist because it's not open yet, and you will be instructed to do so on this masterclass. But regardless of whether you decide to go for the program or not, this masterclass is my gift to you. This is information I believe should be taught at schools. So I really hope that you get a lot of value from this masterclass. And if you have any questions or comments at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram at the.relationship.rehab. Enjoy the masterclass and I'll see you soon. Here we go. So once again, welcome to the Anxious to Anchored Masterclass. And we're just going through, before we get started, to get yourself super cozy, remove those distractions, have a notebook to hand, and set that intention. And if you want to share it with us in the chat, or if you're watching this on replay, maybe write it down at the top of that notebook so you have an understanding as to why you're here, why you clicked that sign up button. Okay. So also, if you want to share this with your loved ones, with your friends, if you found this super valuable, tag me on Instagram so I can see that you are here with me today live. And I want to personally thank you and share you and shout you out on my page that you are showing up for yourself and doing this work, because this is the pinnacle point of what it means to be securely attached. I'm going to give you the solid foundation of where to begin. And we cannot really progress into anything more of what it means to develop a secure attachment within ourselves without this work that I'm going to share with you today around that anxiety that you feel. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you are here, that you are in the right place. And if you are a man, then just replace woman with man. This is gender neutral here. This masterclass is not specifically for women, but I just use the women in my content here. So you are an ambitious person who excelled in life, but you need some support in the relationship department. So maybe you're doing so well in your career, you're getting promotions, you're doing fitness, you've got really great friends around you. And when you're single, you're confident, you're just fine in yourself. You're pretty calm for most of the time. But then when you get into a relationship or you start dating, it's like everything falls apart and you become this different version of yourself, a little bit like a 5-year-old child. And you're like, what has happened to me? Where did this go wrong? I don't recognize myself. I've completely lost myself. You are an empath and your sensitivity is your superpower. See this all the time, especially with anxiously attached people. We are sensitive, highly attuned, sensitive individuals. And when we don't know how to hone in on that sensitivity, we can be a little bit like a plastic bag in the wind and we get impacted and affected by everyone's energy around us. So when we start to strengthen our sensitivity powers, we can really lead from a space of detachment and from the heart rather than from an emotional reaction. You notice anxiety is present when you start to date and when you're in relationships. So maybe you don't notice it in any other areas of your life, or maybe you do, and that's absolutely fine as well. But it starts to get amplified when you start to date someone that you really like. You see it starting to come up. And let me know in the chat if this is resonating as well. Give me a yes in the chat if you feel like this is you. You often fall in love very quickly before it's a matter of days or months. And I'm going to give you some of my stories as well as to how this has happened for me. And you feel like you have found the one without really getting to know them and you get attached really quickly and hard and fast. And then if it comes to a point where you break up, you find it really hard. You suffer almost because it's something that you have given your all to. You have a big heart and you love to love and you have so much to give. If anything, you overgive in your relationships and you over exert yourself and you overshare and you overcommit and you give everything to this person and get quite little in return. And then when the relation or if the relationship falls apart, it's a lot to grieve. And it's because of some of the fantasies and visions that we might have for this person, for this relationship, that we have to break up with, not necessarily the person themselves. So all of that is happening. This causing even more anxiety. This causing even more low self-esteem and low self-worth and doubt and thoughts about what is wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Why am I not worthy of this? And we start to internalize these hard experiences rather than integrating them. You are a person that would do anything for anyone. You maybe even pride yourself on this that, oh, I'm that person. People come to me. I love to be needed. People come to me. I'll do anything for anyone. I'm that shoulder to cry on. And this often gets us in careers like nursing, social work, coaching, therapist. We are nurturers by nature and we want to help people. We want to serve people, but sometimes we do it often at our own expense. Sometimes we don't have that capacity to nurture ourselves the way that we nurture other people. There's a disconnect there. You are a truth seeker. The fact that you are on this masterclass with me, whether you're live or on replay, is testament to the fact that you are here to seek out what is true for you. You are here to seek out support and help to get you to remembering coming home to that secure self within you, because I do believe that we are all born secure. We have had conditioning and limiting beliefs and disruptions to our nervous system that has impacted, that has blocked us from accessing that core secure self that we all have within us. And this is why I'm here with you today, to really help you access that, to be able to start to feel more secure within yourself. And we're going to go through why and what these conditions and attachment trauma could be that is carried within you. And you want to know how to have those deeply intimate relationships, whether you have experienced them like myself. Like I said, I will take you through my story in a moment where I have experienced healthy partners in secure relationships, but because I wasn't secure in myself, I completely sabotaged it. So maybe you have had that, or maybe you're wanting that, and you're the typical people that you are attracting are more on the avoidant spectrum, or they're emotionally unavailable, or they're just keeping you stuck in situationships and you can't really get past that space and you're wondering what's going on. And I'm here to learn how to move past that so I can have fulfilling, deeply intimate relationships. Let me know in the chat if this is where you're at and you are in the right place, if so. Sometimes you might often feel misunderstood, a little bit like a loose pin, and you don't belong in boxes. And this is my invitation for us all right now to, even though we're going to be using labels like anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, whatever may come up, I want us to use these labels as something that is going to support and help us to formulate some more understanding of ourselves, not to put us in boxes. You might recognize in yourself that you are more anxiously attached or avoidantly attached, depending on where you are in life, on that person that you might be going on a date with or in relationship with. So this can sometimes make us feel a bit confused as to what's going on in our attachment system. So I want us to remove the boxes and really just use the labels as a way to cultivate more understanding of our behaviors that we are observing. But you might feel misunderstood, like no one gets you. Like maybe you're going to friends or family and you're talking about your experiences in relationships and they don't quite understand what's going on. And they maybe saying advice like, oh, just get over it. You'll be fine. Or just don't do that next time. Or try this next time. And it just doesn't land because they don't really see, hear, or understand what you're going through. You feel deeply. Oh my gosh. Let me know if this is you. I know this is me. You feel deeply. You're very intuitive and you wear your heart on your sleeve. You can feel people's energies quite deeply to the point where sometimes it affects you. Maybe you are around someone who's in a bad mood, and all of a sudden you are now in a bad mood, and you are trying to shift their bad mood so you can feel better. So this is when we are becoming highly influenced by other people. Again, going back to that sensitivity part, we're very intuitive, we're very energetically intuitive. So when we can start to use that and protect ourselves, put those energetic boundaries in place, we can use it to our advantage rather than being a reaction to it. You are strong because you had to be. You've been through a lot, whether this is early childhood trauma or whether this is relational trauma of your early relationship experiences. You've had to be strong and you've been through a lot. You value personal development as a result. You want to heal, you want to grow. You are not here to blame and shame other people around you, regardless of whose fault it is. And we can always encourage people to take accountability and responsibility for themselves and their actions. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the way that we show up for ourselves and who we are in relationship with others when they are coming to us with these types of behaviors and words and the way that they are being. It depends whether we stay with them or we decide to set a boundary for ourselves and we leave. We're waking up to those generational trauma patterns. So maybe you are carrying things that you are observing is a reflection of your mother, of your father. This is what my mother used to do. This is what my father used to do. So now we are starting to see these patterns, these behaviors being carried down through the generations. And sometimes we see and observe things in ourselves that we might not quite understand. Maybe it's because we're not conscious of experiences that we had, but maybe it's because it's not even ours, but we're holding it, we have it because we are being called to heal it. But it's something that has come from somewhere else. And you are here to make your mark on the world. You want to make an impact. You want to leave this world a better place. Like me, maybe you have a deep connection to people and you want to serve and you want to help. And when we start with ourselves, when we heal ourselves, we heal others and therefore we heal the world. I didn't quite get this at first. I just wanted to help people at my own detriment. I didn't matter so much. And it's because of those subconscious beliefs that I was carrying that I was not even worthy of my own love and attention because I didn't really get it to the full capacity that I needed it as a child. But I wanted to make my mark on the world. I wanted to be significant. I wanted to have meaning and purpose. I wanted to be known. I wanted to leave a legacy. I still do want to leave that legacy in the world so I'm not forgotten about when I leave this earth. And I value community. Oh, community is so important. Let me know if this is you as well. I love being around like-minded people where we can share our experiences and our stories and support each other. All right. So, like I said, let me know if this is you. And you're feeling overwhelmed with all the information overload. We are living in a digital world right now where everything is being thrown at our faces. We have so much content to go through. I'm sure this is you. I'm sure you are a person that has books, that has courses, that has free masterclasses, that has resources, that has all the things just stacking up on the shelves, cluttering up your inbox, and it can be really overwhelming. Like, where do I begin? Everybody is coming at me. Maybe you feel like you're not good enough. Maybe you're in a space right now where you're trying these things by yourself. You are taking the master classes, you're downloading the freebies, you're taking the courses, you're listening to the podcast, but you're still not making valid progress. You're consuming all the knowledge, but you can't get to that next step of embodiment, of really understanding what it takes to do this, do communicate like this, or set a boundary like that, or connect to my inner child like this. There's something still blocking you. and you doubt whether you can actually move from anxious to secure attachment. Maybe you've been on this journey for a while and there's small steps being made, but you can't seem to quite make that final breakthrough. Wherever you are on your journey, I work with clients in all different areas of the spectrum, whether you're just beginning your journey or whether you have been doing this for a while, but you're still noticing those flutters of fear, those flutters of anxiety, those blocks from being able to communicate with your partner and have those open conversations. You can feel your ego still quite there and you're getting defensive and you don't know why. So wherever you are is all welcome. Maybe you're doubting the industry. There's so many people labeling themselves as coaches these days. And it's important to do your research when you are choosing a therapist or a coach as to whether this person can actually help you. Do they have those testimonials and proof that what they have to offer works? And I for sure do. And I'm going to share some of that with you today as well. But regardless of who you choose and who you listen to, even do your research into this person to see if they actually resonate and can help you. But I get it. I really get it. There's a lot of noise these days. So maybe there's some doubt there of whether people can actually help you. You think that there's something wrong with you. And right now, I want to say there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Whatever you're going through, the anxiety that you feel, the self-worth that is on the floor and just splattered all over the place, there is nothing wrong with you. I don't even care what anyone has said to you in the past. And sometimes we do just sometimes say, like, what the hell's wrong with you? We don't know the impact of what that has on other people. And it can wrap us up in shame, wrap those parts of ourselves in shame. And we don't want to even allow people to see those parts of us. Maybe we're hiding the anxiety that we feel from the people that we date, from our friends, from our partner, because we're so afraid of them leaving us or rejecting us or judging us. So we're just now covered in shame because we think that there's something intrinsically wrong with us. Maybe you have been shamed, blamed, and judged in the past by your caregivers for your emotions, for setting a boundary. I know this is a very common part of the conditioning and experiences that a lot of us have been through if we have an insecure attachment style is we have learned that it's not okay to display emotions. It's not okay to be too dramatic or too sensitive or set a boundary or communicate in a way. We've been shamed, blamed, even punished for doing so. I know if I said no to my mother, ooh, I would be physically punished, unfortunately. So I learned in that moment that I am not allowed to express my autonomy, also my authenticity. I would be shouted at and love would be withdrawn if I would sing too loudly. And it's then disrupts the connection and attunement that I have with my parent because I want to protect that. So the way that we try to protect our relationship with our caregivers or parent is to diminish these parts of ourselves because they are getting in the way of that connection. If we feel that love and attunement is being taken away, as children, we are very adaptable and we're going to shut those or that authentic parts of ourselves down. We're going to shut our autonomy down. And then that has a ripple impact on the way that we show up in our adult relationships where now we're too scared to set boundaries. We're too scared to communicate how we're really feeling. We're too scared to display emotions. So let me know, what are you scared of in your love life? And that might be something that can give you a clue or an indicator as something that you have been shamed, blamed, and judged for, even punished. You have big dreams and goals for yourself in career, in love life, in financial. You have all these beautiful big dreams, but sometimes you don't believe that you are worthy of it. Sometimes you don't feel like you're enough. And you can't get it because who am I to have these big dreams? But you are here to dream. You are allowed to dream. And your dreams can come true. They really, really can. And when we believe that it is possible for us all, when we get to that space, it just really cracks open. You're ready for that secure relationship. Give me a yes in the chat if you are ready to call this in for yourself. Whew, okay, I'm just at the chat now, just looking at what you guys are chatting about. And so you're working through it a lot, Christy. You went through the Trigger Masterclass in the Facebook group. Amazing. And you're redoing a lot of your priorities. Beautiful. Nico is resonating a lot. Yes, absolutely. Yes, pretty much it. I realized I already healed for a few points, but mostly still struggling. Yeah. It's always good to be aware of where you're at and also to celebrate yourself wherever you're at. If you are making progress, no matter how small, celebrate yourself. Always, always, always. All right. So, what you're going to get from this masterclass, we're going to go through my personal story. So, I maybe you get some nuggets. We won't spend too much long on it because I know time is ticking, but I want to give you an insight of how I personally went from being anxiously attached to securely attached and my journey. What is relationship anxiety and why does it happen? The impact of the childhood attachment trauma that we are carrying, and a little small introduction into our nervous system, because this can be a masterclass in and of itself, but this is just an introduction. What is not secure attachment? So I'm going to break down some of the things that I am observing in both myself and people around me that they almost believe that they are working towards secure attachment, but actually it's not. So we're going to break some of those beliefs. I'm going to give you 3 emotional regulation practices that you can take away today because I want this to be packed with value for you and not just here to listen to me going on about how important it is, but not actually give you some practical tools to work with. And then at the end, like I said, I'm going to give you a little insight on how you can go deeper with me into that secure attachment. All right. So my goal is to help 3 kinds of people. And let me know in the chat. Give me a 1, give me a 2, or give me a 3. I'll write it down in your notebook if you're watching this on replay, where you feel like you're at. Or maybe this doesn't resonate and just drop in the chat where you are. So the first one is those who are going through a breakup. So you're going through a breakup and you're feeling all these overwhelming heavy emotions that has come with the breakup package and you're ready to return back home to your anchored self. Maybe you realize that some of the behaviors that you've noticed that has come from your attachment system has maybe sabotaged the relationship. Maybe you're observing that some of the people that you are choosing are avoidant, emotionally unavailable, not willing to be in a healthy relationship. They've got their own work to do and they just can't get past their own shit. And you're maybe staying in these relationships for too long and now you're going through this breakup and you're hurting hard and you're healing your heart, and this is why you are here. Number 2 is those who are single and dating. You're going to get practical ways on how to maintain your sense of self so you don't lose your sense of self and you regulate as you date. So you're not completely overwhelmed with anxiety, losing focus in your work, saying no to your friends because you want to be overly available for this person just in case they want to hang out. You basically just don't want to lose your shit again. You want to stay grounded, regulated, be able to not be waiting for that text message to come through all day, every day. I know how exhausting that can be. And you just want to be able to live your normal life and date someone that you really like. Those who are in relationships, you're going to get practical ways again, how to regulate yourself and become more secure within the relationship, to become that secure space and environment, not only for yourself, but for your partner as well. So you can encourage and inspire them to do their own growth journey and be able to communicate openly and authentically and collaborate and communicate from this space as well. So at the end of the day, we are all here to have happier, healthy relationships with others, but most importantly, with ourselves. Am I right? It all starts with us every single time. Okay. So a little bit about me. I am a part of a movement of individuals who are fed up of losing themselves in unhealthy relationships. We're ready to heal and choose something different. We are ready to take charge of our own lives, and we are no longer settling for mediocrity in love and life. Absolutely not. This is the one life that we have, and we refuse to spend it in relationships with people who cannot take responsibility for themselves, who cannot show up emotionally available, who cannot communicate effectively with us. And we're also setting that standard for ourselves as well. We are done with the drama. We're ditching the drama. We're done with the sabotaging patterns. We're done with not really knowing how to handle our emotions when we get triggers. We're ready for something different and something better because we're go-getters. We've made it our mission to heal these attachment traumas that are plaguing our world, and we understand that we need to do things differently in order to do so. We understand that our pain is our power. Maybe we didn't have those secure role models growing up, but we're ready to be those role models. And we don't look to others to change or fix us. We don't change or fix others. We know that the responsibility lies within us, and we know that we can only control ourselves, not other people. I had to learn these lessons, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you as well as we embody these lessons for you. So I'm originally from Wales in the UK, but I am based in Thailand. I have been here for 10 years now, in and out, but this is been my home base. I am a certified attachment specialist coach. I'm also training in my master's degree in somatic therapy. So my programs are a blend of coaching and therapy. I believe that we need both in order to have a holistic approach to healing. I'm the founder of the Relationship Rehab, a company that I set up 4 years ago in order to bring this mission to the world, in order for us to have more fulfilling relationships, because I was getting fed up with my own love life and I knew something needed to change. And now I'm so excited to be coaching people to do the same. Travel and coffee are my favorite things. Let me know if you also are a traveler or a coffee addict, but they are just the simple joys of my life. And I really have embodied what it means to be a secure queen. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not perfect. I still have my moments. I still have my triggers. But the beautiful thing about my life now is that I have a partner who is also valued and is doing the work on himself. And we are coming together as a team to be able to support one another in our triggers. So it's not about becoming perfect. We're still going to have our moments. We're still going to have things that are going to come up that wants our attention. We still have needs. We still have defensive mechanisms, protective mechanisms. It's about choosing a partner that can really support you to be able to work through them. It's not about being in a relationship where you have to do this all by yourself now. You may as well be single. It's about choosing a partner where you are willing and able, you have the capacity to support one another, but not depend on one another, interdepend on one another. I studied criminal psychology and sociology for my bachelor's, and I do have a social work background as well. I did social work for 5 years, working with attachment theory in a different capacity with parent and child. So I have that background. Like I said, I'm certified in attachment theory, coaching for 4 years, and studying my somatic therapy course. So a little bit background on me. And I'm pretty good at what I do. I think so. I'm just going to blow my trumpet for a little bit. Just a moment. Just give me a moment to blow my trumpet. So you can see here, Julie has been able to find a guy that she would not have chosen if she didn't go on this journey from anxious to secure with me, because she just wasn't attracted to these types of men that were able to give her the emotional availability she so craved, to give her safe spaces, to give her consistency. But she was able to find that true love within herself, and she had all the tools to help her succeed in every relationship. So yes, it was beautiful to watch her really go from attracting men. Like, one of her exes went to prison. She was in that space, and now she's in this beautiful relationship with a guy who sometimes she doubts, because when we develop secure attachment and we start to feel differently in relationship, it can sometimes feel unfamiliar. So we really had to working through making safety and consistency familiar, and that takes time as well. Okay, this is another client of mine, and yeah, she says that this is by far the biggest and best investment of her life, doing this journey that I'm going to share with you today. And at the end of the transformation, she exceeded all her goals and expectations, and she really did do so much healing work. And what rose from the surface was this gorgeous butterfly, and now she is thriving in herself, in her life. If I'm correct in thinking what client this is, she's actually traveling the world right now in a van with friends, dating from a space of detachment, and it's just absolutely fantastic to see the journey that she is on. And then we've got this one. Was way more amazing and helpful than can ever be hoped for. Oh, she had a lot of doubt and anxiety that the program would actually help her, but it did. It really did. And I think I'm going to share this client's journey in a moment, so I won't spend too much time on this. But yeah, just to show you that it's totally normal to have doubt, to have skepticism. Can't say the word skepticism about whether this stuff could actually help you and support you. So I think it's important to validate any fears and doubts that might be coming up for you as to why you should invest your time, energy, and even money into this type of personal development work or relationship work. But it wasn't always this way. Let me just give you a brief overview into my own journey. So it started when I was 15. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Mm. So when I was 15, I got into a relationship. We were very young, very emotionally immature. Thought it was an age thing, but we were together for 8 years and nothing changed. Those 8 years were full of self-abandonment, manipulation on both of our parts. We were trying to change each other, fix each other. We were not accepting each other fully, not choosing each other fully. He was also quite emotionally abusive, really took away my sense of self and my autonomy, my authenticity. I lost all my friends, but I had severe abandonment wound that was so exposed, so open that I would do anything and everything so he didn't leave me. I even tried to break up with him, and I had all this anxiety and fear and just heaviness wash over me, and I would be completely drowning in my emotions, and I would be back within days, and I couldn't break the cycle. Thankfully, I did break the cycle. And with the help of a community, the help of support, the help of a therapist and my family. I didn't have any friends at this point, but this was the support system that I had to really help me physically, emotionally, like come away from this relationship. And I did 5 years of conscious singledom, my sacred single era, as I call it. I started to travel to the US. That's why I've done a lot of traveling in the US, and I love that country very dearly. It's close to my heart. That's why I love to work with Americans. I love you guys. And I started to become even more confident and empowered in my life. Like the trips that I did to the US really changed my life, and I really understood what life can feel like. I don't have to be this small version of myself. So in the end, I quit my job and I decided to move to Thailand for a completely brand new life. I will be honest at this point as well and say that I feel like the environment that I was in Wales was not supporting me to be able to expand in the way that I wanted to. I needed to be around people because I didn't know how to do it for myself. Like I said, I didn't have the best role models. I needed to be around people that could really be that inspiring role models that I wanted to be. I needed to take that next step in my healing. And for me, what that meant was physically removing myself from my environment and going somewhere else. Environment doesn't have to be physical, though. It can be the online spaces that you're around. It can be your own private space in your home and creating a different energy or intention for that. But even at this point, I refused to date because I was so afraid of falling back into my old patterns. So I used staying single as a protective mechanism. So instead of being empowered in my single era, because I was still yearning for a partner, I still felt like there was something missing. So I couldn't really be in that empowered state. I was using it as a protective mechanism instead. Let me know again in the chat if you're resonating with any of this, my loves. So 1 year into my life in Thailand, I fall in love. I find my partner at the time who was pretty much healthy and secure. He had his traits, as we all do. No one is perfect. And we did move in with each other straight away after only meeting twice. It was very intense at the beginning. It was actually a real explosion. But as things started to settle down, he did become a very safe and secure partner. But that was the problem, guys. It settled down. I was addicted to the drama. I was addicted to the ups and downs, to the anxiety that would be flooding my body, of like butterflies, of overwhelm, of not being able to focus, of not being able to sleep, not being able to eat. I romanticized this experience. Oh my God, I have found the one. I can't sleep, I can't eat. Isn't this amazing? No, it's not amazing. It's anxiety. But I was enthralled in this. I was such a romanticizer, and I thought that I was in absolute heaven. And this is the thing, it can feel like a drug when when you're in love and you're infatuated with someone. But as things started to calm down in the relationship, I didn't like it. It didn't feel familiar, even though I consciously really wanted it. And I started to sabotage. I started to protest. I started to turn everything against him. I started to change little things about him that I was picking at because I was just trying to sabotage. It didn't feel familiar. Constantly tested him, criticized him. I became really overbearing. And I didn't become too much, but my behavior became too much. And he didn't feel safe and secure in himself anymore. He was walking on eggshells in this relationship, never knowing when I was going to explode, never knowing if I was going to get super defensive if he wanted to bring something up about our relationship. So he just never did in the end. Of course, it fell into unhealthy patterns, couldn't take it anymore, and he broke up with me. And this was a relationship that really catapulted me into understanding attachment styles, along with this experience here of infatuation just after, where I became completely obsessed with a man that I met in Nepal and lost a lot of clients in my business. I was doing marketing at the time, and I was falling into these deep fantasies, these visions of who he is. I didn't even know the dude. Let's be honest, I didn't know him. It'd only been a couple of months, but already I was married and having his baby. I really fell into that infatuation phase, and he felt that energy. He started to pull back and distance himself, which of course amplified everything that I was feeling as I was leaning even more in. I was chasing, I was proving myself, I was trying to be perfect, I was pleasing him in any way that I could. And he felt that, and he's like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel healthy. But yeah, these two experiences really catapulted me when it was COVID into this space of like, I need to do something with this. And I was forced to sit with my shit. Who else? Give me a hands up or yes in the chat if you went through COVID having to really sit with some shit that came up to the surface. So this is when I really started to identify the patterns which caused me so much regret and shame and sadness. And I really leaned heavily on God and my spiritual practices during this time. So I really invite a lot of spirituality into my programs and my journey as well, but it's not necessary if it doesn't resonate with you. And then I finally put myself in rooms with people that understood me, that I could finally see and understand what was going on within myself because I was able to share my experiences with others. I was not alone in this. Who else feels alone in their whatever they're going through in their love lives, in your relationship? And it was just the most incredible thing, and I completely dived into it head first. And then, yeah, it was really got myself to the place where I really started to help other people as well. Oh, my challenge from God chapter. So this was a 10-month situationship that you might have seen me talking about in my content as well, where I was already on my healing journey. I understood a lot about my patterns at this point and my trauma, my conditioning, and I was reprogramming it all, and I was regulating my nervous system. And then came this guy. And I started dating him. He seemed perfect. And I was head over heels. He seemed pretty mature and secure at first. And I was like, okay, everything's going great. He's ticking all the boxes of what I'm looking for. I was really trying to slow down. I was not trying to rush it, even though my default was to really, rush into it and do all the things quick, quick, quick and get him into that commitment before we were both even ready. But after a while, as things were starting to progress and starting to get serious, he was starting to pull away. He wasn't ready for a relationship, but unfortunately, he was still keeping me dangling. Um, Even though he said that he didn't want a relationship, I gaslit myself at this point and was like, okay, maybe I don't need the label. Maybe I can, he's a great guy and he's showing up for me in his actions. I don't need to be called his girlfriend. I don't really need the commitment, but I was going against myself. I was not honoring what I was really needing and what I wanted from a relationship, and instead putting myself to the side and putting his needs first. Thankfully, after 10 months, I did eventually break it off, but only after I thought that I could change his mind. I thought if only I can just keep showing him how much I am amazing I am and how, I'm doing the work on myself, like he would be a fool to let me go. I am such a catch. Like, I just need to show him a little bit more. He just needs a little bit more time. That is not the case. If he can't see it, as soon as he starts dating you, darling, he won't see it. He won't change his mind. And this got nothing to do with you. It is not a reflection on you. And that's a lesson I really had to embody as well. It is all about them. And sometimes it is just not a match. Sometimes it just is that. It's just not a compatible match. And sometimes we have to be okay with that. It doesn't mean anything about us. Okay, but I was proud of my growth. I really was proud of my growth. And now, presently, I am in a beautiful relationship with a gorgeous man who is also not naturally secure, but he has been doing the work on himself. And that's what makes our relationship so amazing. We both have this depth to ourselves. We have our superpower. His default is fearful avoidant. But we have both healed and done the work on ourselves to be with each other. We met initially, gosh, years ago, and we were not ready for each other. We were both still, I was still very anxious and he was still very fearful. So we couldn't be with each other. We really had to go our separate ways and have the experiences that we did in order to come back together. Initially, I didn't feel anything. He didn't give me these explosive butterflies. And, when I'm around him, I felt safe. I could still focus. I could still eat and sleep and all these things. And I thought, maybe this isn't it then. Maybe this isn't love because I don't feel chaotic in myself. If anything, I feel calm and peaceful. And, he's very nice. And all these doubts started to come in as to maybe this isn't it. That's not the case. It's what we want to value more. It just doesn't feel familiar. And it's about really working with feeling familiar in these types of relationships. We have clear, calm communication. In the past, I would shout and scream in, my relationships in order to get my point across, in order to be heard, in order for my ego to not be damaged or bruised in some way, to defend myself. Now, we do our best. Like I said, we're not perfect. We do our best to really allow our defenses to come down, regulate our nervous system so we can show up with each other. The way that he really regulates his nervous system so he can understand what I'm saying without taking it personally is phenomenal. I'm still learning a lot from this guy, and I'm doing the same. Trying not to take things personally and really listening to where he's coming from and trying to understand why this is triggering, why this is coming up, what is he trying to say. And we have aligned values and compatibility. So yes, chemistry is important to be chemically attracted to each other. Of course, we don't want to start choosing people that we're not attracted to. But do we have the compatibility there? Are we aligned in our values? We're able to detach from the outcome. We're not afraid to lose each other. I know that sounds bizarre, but we're not. We want the best for each other. And if that means not being with each other, then so be it. That's what I believe love is being able to detach from the outcome. So when we're in conflict, before I would not even want to rock the boat because I'm so afraid of them walking away or showing parts of me that are quite vulnerable. Now I'm able to detach from the outcome. If he walks away because I'm showing this part of myself or I'm authentically expressing myself in this space, then he's not the person for me, and I wish him the best. But thankfully, we are able to really support each other in this. We spent a lot of money, time, and energy on healing ourselves. So we always say to each other, we healed for this. I still have those flutters of sabotage from time to time, but like I said, we are working on creating a safe environment for each other to be able to work and go through and move through and come out of these experiences and not stay stuck in them and not ruminate and not be able to move past them. So that's my journey, guys. So, are you ready to be on this journey with me so you can also embody that secure attachment and welcome this love into your life? Give me a yes in the chat. All right, let's take a pause. I'm going to check the chat and then we're going to dive into what is relationship anxiety. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, there is a large message from you, Michael, but I will read it a bit later. Michael is one, Christy one, transitioning to a two. Beautiful. Molly one, Nico two. Okay, so we've got single and dating. Christy, you don't drink coffee. Oh my God. Nico, digital nomad. Me too. Nico, we're not alone. Just describe my last interest in the situationship, literally. Yeah. It's so funny how we can all have these very similar experiences, but we also have these little uniqueness about ourselves as well. But yeah, we do all have very similar experiences and reactions to these experiences as well. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Are you enjoying it so far? I hope that you're getting a lot of value from this so far, even just listening to my own story and knowing that you are not alone and that this is absolutely possible for you as well. All right, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of educational information now. Just check the time. Okay. So, like I said, there's only so much that we can cram into an hour and a half long masterclass. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into relationship anxiety here. So, what I've got here is some little prompts for you to write down in your journal or just a screenshot. So, you can come back to these. And I just want you to explore, what is your relationship like with anxiety right now? Are you someone who suppresses it? Are you someone who shames it? If you were to see it as a part of you, how are you in relationship to that? Do you not allow it to come up? Are you seeing it as something that completely overwhelms you? How does it show up for you? So everybody has different experiences of anxiety. For me, it used to show up in tears. I used to cry when I get anxious, and this is how I would release it. It would show up with my heart racing fast. I would get really, really hot. I'd get clammy. I'd stumble upon my words. I wouldn't know what I was saying from one word to the next. I would go over this like glassy, foggy sensation in the eyes, and I would start to shake. So, what are the physical sensations that you're experiencing when you are triggered into anxiety? And then on a cognitive level, what are those reoccurring anxious thoughts that you have? Now, all this information that you are going to gather is going to be clues and indicators as to what is happening for you in your internal world and for you to start to build up that awareness. So some of the anxious thoughts that I used to have a lot of was, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. I don't get to have this. And what if? What if they leave me? What if they reject me? What if they really see who I am underneath and not accept me? So, what are some of the thoughts that you have that can give you some clues of how your system, how your patternings and conditioning is inside? And I use this gif here of like all the stuff coming out of the filing cabinet, because sometimes we can feel like this when we're in an anxious state. It's like everything's just like bah, 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 bah. And that is because anxiety is a very activated emotion. It puts us in a state of fight and flight, so we take action. So if we try to do something like sitting still in meditation when we're feeling very activated in our anxiety, you might start to experience that it doesn't work. It doesn't work because your body is flooding you with cortisol, which is showing up in the physical sensations that you've listed below, which is the heart racing, the tension in your body. It's all putting you in this state of survival. And you're either going to lean into fighting, So sometimes it doesn't mean fighting like this. It could be just leaning in energy. It could be, proving yourself, of like fighting for a relationship, of maybe even threatening somebody. It's very much a leaning in energy. Flight is a leaning out energy where you want to run away, you want to get away as fast as possible, and your body is flooding you with cortisol. So you get to go very quickly away from the environment that is threatening. Now, this is the thing that keeping us in these patterns and cycles and feeling stuck in them is because sometimes these are not actual threats, it's perceived threat. So let's say, for example, you had a childhood where you were pretty much ignored, or whenever you said something, like your mum or dad would not listen, they were very busy with their own stuff, and you just felt like your opinion didn't matter, your voice didn't matter, and I may as well just not ever say anything about how I'm feeling or what I'm experiencing. Maybe you're trying to communicate something to a partner of how you're feeling, and this person is on their phone. They're not really listening. That's going to trigger you, right? Because of the childhood experience that you had, even if you don't know it on a conscious level. And all of a sudden you might blow up with them. Like, oh my God, you never listen to me. Like, you're always on your phone. And this person might be like, whoa, 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 whoa. This has come out of nowhere. And it's important to know why this is being triggered, be able to regulate us in this space as well, so we don't have these explosives. But what's happening in the body is there's something in our brain called the amygdala. Let's call her Amy. And she's out there with the binoculars like this, and she's scoping the environment for threats. Your partner being on his phone in that moment could be a perceived threat, that we are not important enough, that this person doesn't love us. We're ringing the alarm. Oh my God, there's a threat. There's a threat. We need to do something about this. And then that sends the signals to another part of our brain to release a chemical that we call cortisol into the body. We are now flooded with anxiety. Certain things are shutting down in our brain, like our hippocampus that stores the regulative chemicals and the memory. We might find that we can't remember things when we're in an anxious state, and the way that we communicate is distorted. Like the whole neocortex is completely gone offline. And now we are operating from our reptilian brain, which is our survival brain, which is that we need to protect ourselves in any way possible. This could be defensiveness, protect ourselves. This could be running away to protect yourself. This could be, saying a snarky comment to somebody in order to balance out the power, because maybe we're feeling very powerless in that space. Maybe it's fawning. We're falling into fawning, and we're leaning in, and we're pleasing, and we're chasing, and we're begging. And these are all protector parts that our body and our mind is putting in place in order for us to feel safe. And depending on the beliefs that we have, if it's I'm not good enough, I'm not important, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, those beliefs will start to get activated, and we need to put these protector parts over this belief in order to not feel that we're not good enough or that we're not important, even though it is spiraling and very activated at that point. So this is what's causing this internal chaos right now, is that we're feeling the subconscious belief that we're holding about ourselves, and then now we've got these protective parts all trying to do all this stuff so we don't feel this belief that we have about ourselves. So it can feel like a lot, am I right? It can feel very intense, and it can feel very exhausting. And sometimes when we don't know how to do this for ourselves, we look at other people to do it for us. Again, if we have not been taught to self-regulate, then we are looking at other people to do it for us, whether it's them changing their behavior so we don't get triggered, whether it's them regulating our emotions, or whether it's them saying certain things or doing certain things and us having those expectations of them showing up a certain way. So now we feel better. But the key to emotional freedom is to be able to learn how to do this for yourself. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight this book. This is quite an academic book, but if anybody's interested in this book that I'm reading right now, is absolutely phenomenal. It's called Healing Developmental Trauma. And in this book, he says one of the most significant consequences of attachment trauma is the resulting lack of capacity for emotional and autonomic self-regulation. So what this basically means is we cannot have happy, healthy, fulfilling relationship unless we learn to self-regulate. We will always be in a space of having a lack of capacity or having that attachment trauma if we do not know how to self-regulate. And unfortunately, the attachment trauma that we go through, it disrupts our capacity for emotional and autonomic self-regulation. So if we are carrying some attachment trauma that is giving us the anxious attachment style or the avoidant attachment style or the fearful avoidant, then it really gets in the way of us knowing how to self-regulate naturally. And this is why we need to learn it. Okay, so this is our nervous system. I've already gone through a little bit of what this looks like. So very quickly, the way that we can really start to understand it. I love this graphic. This is polyvagal theory from Stephen Porges. And he explains it very well of how we ride the waves of anxiety and any type of emotion. So you're welcome to screenshot this as well, so you can study it in your own time. But very quickly, just going through it, when we are feeling calm, confident, grounded, regulated, we are here in this green zone. And this really supports us to be compassionate, curious, mindful, present, calm, settled. This is where I'm at right now. I'm very present with you guys. I'm very focused. I'm very calm. I'm very curious. I'm able to trust in all the things that I'm saying without being hyper vigilant about notes. I don't even use notes anymore because I'm able to keep myself in this social engagement space. However, when we get triggered or one of our beliefs get triggered or our body gets triggered for a perceived threat, we move into the fight and flight stage. And this is when we get into our sympathetic nervous system. So all that amygdala up here in the brain, she's detecting a threat and she's starting to shut shit down. She's shutting down our reproductive system, our digestive system, our neocortex, in order to put us in this space for survival. We need to fight or we need to flee. Just like in the animal kingdom, right? When you see the lion, when the gazelle sees the lion, right, now I need to make this quick decision, and our body supports us to do this. We have this nervous system for a reason, for when we are in actual danger and threat, to be able to fight or to be able to flee. So cortisol gets pumped into the body to tense all the muscles, to get ready to run or to get ready to fight. But when there is no actual threat, which is most of the time in our modern daily lives, and we are living in this sympathetic nervous system because we're just getting triggered all the time. We're just feeling anxious in work, in life, in relationships. And it puts us in this space of feeling angry, irritable, frustrated, fearful, worried. So just use this to be able to explore within yourself. What is my experience like when I get into this yellow zone of anger, of anxiety? Do I want to lean in? Do I want to fight? Do I want to flee? Do I want to fawn? Do I want to please? What does this look like? If we cannot fight or flee a situation, so let's say you are in conflict with a partner and you have done some fighting, you've done some defensiveness, you've done some projection, you've tried to leave the room, but for some reason it's not happening. Maybe they want to work through this. Sometimes we can go into that freeze response. So this is when we think, well, we cannot fight, we cannot flee, so now we have no option but to freeze. And sometimes a lot of people leave their lives in this freeze response because they feel like the world is such a dangerous place and they cannot fight or flee from the world. So they live in this freeze response. And this is when we become really disassociated with our lives. We become completely numb. Depression, when people suffer with depression, they are living in their freeze response. They're shut down, feelings of hopelessness and despair, and feelings of being trapped as well. So we almost like, it sounds extreme, but almost like get ready for death in the animal kingdom. It can feel like this immobile response, like we can't get out of bed, we can't do anything. I can't would be the normal response all the time when you're in a freeze response. So this is a very small introduction into the nervous system. There's so much more that we could go into this, but for now, I don't want to overwhelm your system. I don't want to overwhelm you with all of this, but do your research on the nervous system and just get curious. Just get curious of maybe where you feel like you are right now, checking in with yourself. Where do you live most of your life? Is it in the green? Is it in the yellow? Is it in the red? What do these different areas look like for you? And then we can move through these stages as well. So it's not realistic to now expect ourselves to be in this green zone all the time. Sometimes we need to come into that yellow zone because we need our nervous system to work this way in order to get away from actual threat. But how well equipped are we to deactivate ourselves from the freeze, from the fight and flight, and back down into the green? Just get curious as to what tools and systems you might have in place so far to be able to deactivate yourself and whether this is a reason why you are here today. And I'm going to show you three things that are going to really help you in your deactivation as well, from anxiety to feeling more anchored in this green zone for yourself. All right. So this is very quick, but a lot of anxiously attached beauties, when we are triggered into that yellow space, we are looking for reassurance. We look externally of ourselves for reassurance that we are okay, that we are safe, that we are loved, that we are accepted. And this could come up in a way of constantly checking for a partner's text response or constantly asking that person you're dating or in relationship with, like, are you okay? Are we okay? Do you still love me? Is there anything wrong? One day, because I started to notice this about myself all the time. And my partner even now says that you ask me a lot, are you okay? Is everything okay? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And this can be in hypervigilance coming through of trying to make sure that everything is safe. As soon as we start to even feel a little flutter of unsafety, we're hypervigilant. And this is again is part of that anxious response of wanting to know and wanting to know that everything is safe. So I'm able to be safe because maybe that internal safety has not yet been built. Mm. Again, let me know in the chat if you resonate with this. This could look like over analyzing words. So maybe you're picking apart words that they use, their body language, their tone. Why did you say that in this tone? Why did you move your body an inch away from me? We're constantly looking for these signs of abandonment because we have abandonment wounds that are open, that are activated, that have not yet had our attention and our healing. So we feel like we're constantly going to be abandoned because we're not good enough or we're not worthy. But I want to be able to support you to get to this regulation space. Being able to recognize when your nervous system is dysregulated, have those tools to be able to deactivate from an activation and regulate yourself, to pause and have self-soothing techniques to be able to reframe your anxious thoughts and therefore build up that inner security. So when reassurance does come, because like I said, being in a relationship is a partnership. It's not like never receiving reassurance ever again from people, but it's an added bonus. It's not a survival need. It's not like I need to hear from you in order to feel okay. It's I would like to hear from you. And it's important to me that I hear from you because, we're partners in this and it makes my day. But if I don't, I'm not going to now be, an explosive, anxious mess and not be able to concentrate on other things until I do. All right. So are you with me so far? You still are you still with me? And I hope everything is landing wonderfully. Like I said, let me know if there are any questions that do come up as a result. Okay, Nico, I've been in the yellow zone for the last 2, 3 weeks. Okay. Okay, lovely. It's good awareness that you're there. And I hope that these tools that I'm about to share will really support you to come back down into the green. But just a little bit about what is not secure attachment. So what I see a lot in today's society is people feeling like they're secure if they don't care. It's like it's, I don't care, I don't care, I don't give a shit. Like do what you want to do. I'm cool, I'm chill. It doesn't bother me. I don't need you. And we kind of go into this again protective space of hyper independence of playing it cool. But being securely attached doesn't mean that you're chill about everything and that you don't care. If anything, building healthy attachment allows you to care more deeply and with an element of detachment. And what I mean by this is that detachment from the outcome, not detachment from people. Like I'm just not gonna attach to anyone anymore because everyone's gonna hurt me and I'm just gonna have these big barriers around me. It's not about that. It's about being able to allow people in, open up your heart, but be able to heal those abandonment and rejection wounds. So if people do decide to leave your life for whatever reason, it doesn't feel like a death. It doesn't feel so painful, like it stings you to your core. So it's not about this, I don't care, I don't need a man, like I don't need you, I'm fine by myself. That would be more going into the avoidant camp. It's also not this permanent zenness. Like I said, it's not like, oh my God, nothing touches me and I'm just perfectly zen and all good. And I see this a lot in Thailand, the spiritual people that feel like they're deeply connected, but actually they're disconnected from themselves and from others and even from God because they've put themselves in this spiritual egotistical space of being permanently zen. Being securely attached does not mean ever being triggered or ever feeling any type of emotions ever again. Not about fixing them. It's not about getting rid of them. It's about expanding your capacity to move through them and to be able to address them with a clear, calm mind without taking it personally or being overpowered and driven by your emotions. Instead, we want to take control and power of your emotions. All right, so let's get into the tools, guys. This is the fun part. So, how are you finding it so far? Let me know in the chat. Does it all make sense so far? Give me a yes if so. All right, so the next three tools I'm going to share with you are very simple but powerful. Of course, we only have a limited time together, and I wish I could really go deeper with you guys in terms of our conditioning and our attachment systems. But this is not the time and place, unfortunately. And if you do want to go deeper with all this, I will tell you how we can do this together at the end. But for now, like I said, I want you to have these takeaways. These are three simple tools that you can start using today to be able to deactivate your anxiety to get you back into that anchored space. And the first one is what I call the power pause. Now, my clients are well known and well scripted in the power pause. This is my most powerful, simple tool. And I also shared a freebie with you. If you haven't got your hands on it yet, then you will have a link to it in one of your emails that you've had for this masterclass. And this workbook will really take you through how to take those power pauses. What it basically means is pausing before reacting. Because now we understand that when we get triggered, when we feel anxious, our neocortex is offline, it's shut down. This space of our brain is dependent on being able to provide some logical reasoning to situations, is being able to uh, be able to see things from a bigger perspective rather than a tunnel vision of what is really going on. This is the thing that we have access to that can really. I wonder if you ever had an experience where you were completely activated and reacted in a situation with someone and you called them a name or you said something that you didn't mean. And then afterwards, when you calmed down, you were like, oh crap, I wish I didn't say that. Oh, actually, I understand now that it may not be that way. Oh, I can see that it could be this instead. Our neocortex is starting to come online. So we want to be able to make that process a bit more quicker for you. So the first one is to start being really, really connected with yourself to understand what anxiety looks like. So you know that you're getting into this emotional reactive state. And whatever is happening, in whatever way, I would really encourage you to take a pause. This could be leaving the room. This could be just communicating that I'm just feeling quite activated right now. I'm feeling really anxious and I just need a space. I just need a minute. And sometimes that just means taking a breath. And we call this the physiological sigh. It can really calm down the nervous system. And all of this is leading to us feeling safe in our body when anxiety comes in, it's because we're not feeling safe with whatever is happening. So we want to be able to create safety again so we can respond rather than react. So I want us to do this together. I want you to place a hand anywhere on your body right now where you may be feeling tension. This could be your chest, this could be your gut, your stomach, this could be your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. Just really observe where you may be feeling tension. And if you're not feeling any tension at all, that's great, but just see where your hands want to intuitively land on your body. And I call this the anchor breath. So we're just going to take a few deep breaths together. And while we're doing this, I just want you to drop down and observe what is happening in your body. And through the breath, we can really create this safety within ourselves and send signals to our nervous system that we are safe, that we're okay. So let's do this together. Close down the eyes and just really feel into the body, taking a few normal breaths for now, just really dropping in. Maybe you're noticing there might be some releases wanting to happen. And we'll get to that in a moment. But for now, just notice the tension. Just really put our attention onto that space. And let's inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Perfect. And again, breathing in. And this time we're going to exhale slowly, slowly, slowly. You can do a couple of rounds of this by yourself. And just really start to notice if you can feel any calm coming over your body. Or if there's any releasing that wants to happen, any crying, any screaming, any shaking. This is all good. Emotional releasing. So sometimes when we don't allow ourselves to release our emotions, they can get stuck in the body. It's a little bit like sweeping dust under a rug. If we're not attending to it, if we're not cleaning it up through releasing, it just gets stuck. And this is what causes pain in our body, especially in our hips, especially for women. We store a lot of our emotions in our hips. For men, it's in their backs. If you have a lot of pain in your hips or your back, or you're even up in the shoulders here, you're holding on to emotions. So the way that we can really regulate, the most powerful, simplest way really is through the breath. Just taking a few deep breaths and noticing and encouraging peace and calm to come over your body. If you want to add to that, you could bring in some somatic mindfulness, some somatic practices. So if you're noticing the tension in your hips, for example, just doing some hip rolls could be really helpful. If you're noticing it in your shoulders, just some movement in your shoulders. And if you want to take this to the next level, I would encourage you to have a somatic practice in your life. So this could be through stretching, yoga. I'm actually going to do my yoga training next month because I've noticed the importance of these somatic practices to being able to release stuck emotions and anxiety and just to have a calm and regulated life. So maybe it's yoga or any type of movement. I know I observe my father and most of my family, actually, because I live in Wales, the way that they regulate their emotions is through walking in nature. You know, you feel better after a walk in nature. That's why you're releasing emotions. It doesn't always have to be through crying or screaming or shaking. It's through movement because emotion is energy in motion. We need to move the energy. If our body is putting us into an anxious state and we stay still, we are at risk of putting ourselves into a freeze response. We have to move it through, whether it's moving it through the breath or moving it through the body. So this is the first tool that you can use is the power pause. The second one is the anchor. Oh, there's an E there. That shouldn't be there. The anchor mantra. So now we're working with the cognitive mind. So we've got our tool for the body using the breath and using somatic movement. And now we can invite the mind. So like I said, we have to make sure that our neocortex is back online. So this could look like being able to think a bit more clearly, being able to calm down the mind of anxious thoughts. And then we can offer ourselves an anchor mantra. We don't need to be fully regulated at this point. This can be something that can help us with our regulation. And this could be through meditation while moving, if it's very activated. So this could be while you're walking, instead of listening to music or distracting yourself, just really paying attention to the sounds around you and notice your thoughts. What thoughts are really coming up for me right now? And then we can go through a sifting process. If we're ready for this, we can start to observe what are the stories and the narratives that I'm holding about this. So my partner just said, my partner just said that he can't make it tonight. And this has triggered me into an anxiety. Why? What are the stories? What are the narratives that I'm holding about this? It may be because I don't feel important enough. He'd rather spend his time by himself. But really, the reality of it, the truth, is that he's exhausted from a day's work and he just needs his space to be able to recharge. But I'm making it mean that I'm not important enough because he doesn't want to come over, because I've been really looking forward to it all day. So we can start to sift through the stories, the narratives, in order to locate the truth. And maybe the truth is that he just doesn't want to come over, and that's something that we need to sit with. And we can really start to access what's really going on and what is our experience through all of this as well. And then the anchor mantra could be something that you offer yourself to keep you anchored in a grounded space. The one that I use a lot is I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And I confirm this by keeping my feet planted on the floor, by really feeling the support around me, whether it's the chair, whether it's nature, put my feet in the ground. I am safe. I am okay. I am not in danger, because remember, the nervous system thinks that we're in danger. So we want to make sure we're sending those signals to our nervous system. I am safe. I am supported. I am not alone. I am okay. I am enough. Now, this is not going to completely reprogram and eradicate those limiting beliefs, but it's a starting point to be able to eliminate those cognitive distortions that overwhelm your thinking brain and keep you anchored in your calm space. And then the last one I want to share with you is the inner child. Let me know in the chat if you've done any inner child work or if this is really new for you. So this could look like looking at those protector parts that are coming up and getting curious. So I notice when my partner and I have a uncomfortable conversation that I tend to get defensive, that I tend to get overwhelmed with emotion and I cry. I tend to want to leave the room. And just observe, what are your protector parts? What are you needing in these spaces? So this is really uncomfortable for me. This is really unsafe. Even just dating as a whole feels very uncomfortable. How am I protecting myself? Am I keeping myself single as a protective mechanism because I'm so scared to start dating again and get hurt again? What am I needing in order to create more safety for myself? Maybe I need to take things more slowly. My inner child needs that. She's so afraid of being hurt again. He's so afraid of being rejected. But I know that in order to live a full life, full of love and aliveness, I need to be able to get myself taking risks again and getting back out there again so I can meet that person. How can I create a more safer environment? What does my inner child need? My inner child needs me to slow the frick down so I don't get too attached, so I don't get too overwhelmed with infatuation when I meet somebody. How can I do that? Well, I can make sure that I make that promise to myself to take space when I need it. That I keep up with my routines and my habits and my practices and my appointments while I'm dating. So this is a very brief overview, but I want to encourage you to see what comes up for you. What are those saboteur parts that are protecting you right now, wherever you are in your love life, and what you feel like you need in order to create more safety for yourself as you go back into dating, or as you have that uncomfortable conversation, or as you heal your heart after that breakup. All right, so that is the 3 tools that I want you to use. I want you to maybe start with one. Choose one Let me know which one you choose and just start practicing it. Start putting it into your daily routine where you have your power pauses. You really take a breath and you start to pay more attention to your breath. Or maybe you have a developing anchor mantra that you say to yourself every day in the mornings. Or maybe it's inner child work where you really want to start to know your protector parts, start to observe them as they come up. And this is the journey from anxious to anchored, is to really start to awaken your awareness to what's going on in your internal world, but also your external world, to start to align with your core secure self. So this could look like really getting to know your inner child, really getting to know your values and your protector parts. And then, and only then, because a lot of people jump to the final part without doing the first two, which is to anchor in those secure attachment skills. You can download all the communication scripts you want, but unless you feel safe communicating, it's not going to work. You can download all the 3 steps to setting solid boundaries masterclasses, but unless you create safety in setting boundaries, it's not going to work. So, only when we start to regulate our nervous system and awaken to the attachment trauma and wounds that we hold and heal them and align ourselves back with our inner child and protector parts can we then anchor in those secure attachment skills of conscious communication, setting boundaries, conflict resolution, and any other skills as well that we know are essential to healthy relationships. All right, so this isn't just me preaching at you from books. This is actual practical programs that I have put in place for clients. I have led them on this journey to be able to put these things in place. And these are the results that they have got. So this is all tried, tested, and proven. It's not this shit that I'm making up. This is methods that I have fine-tuned over the years where they have been able to achieve results like walking away from fuckboys, meeting someone so organically off the dating apps because they've aligned their energy with their authenticity, getting out of the shower and just feeling so much joy and gratitude and being fully present. This person was not present in his life at all. And all of a sudden now he is so present in his life and he cannot believe the gifts that he has around him. He's noticing the smallest things, which is so cool. Just realizing that I need to trust myself more, that there's nothing wrong with me and I do deserve a partner, that my partner is really seeing me as this freaking amazing person now that I have worked with my saboteur parts and I no longer am sabotaging myself in this relationship. We can really have those incredible conversations that's going to give me the deep intimacy that I yearn for. So this works. So I have a question for you guys. Are you excited about what we just talked about and the potential that's in front of you? Let me know in the chat. Does this excite you? Or do you feel like this? Do you feel like this sounds great, but it sounds like a lot? This sounds overwhelming. I don't know where to begin. And everything is welcome here. I totally understand that this can feel very overwhelming. And I'm just looking in the chat here as well. Yes, makes sense. I'm really happy with the introduction to the nervous system. Amazing. I'm glad that was helpful for you. Is the anchor mantra a good moment to journal? That's a great question, Nico. So if we journal too soon, we risk overwhelming ourselves even more. We want to be able to really be with the body first and foremost, whether this is through breathing or movement. And only then, when we start to feel ourselves coming down, we don't have to be fully down, but start to feel ourselves deactivating, can we get that journal out then and really work with the cognitive mind? Okay, how can we align with the core secure self? I will tell you a little bit about how you can do that in a minute. Christy, exciting. Yes, exciting. Perfect. Ah, so good. Okay, so if you are excited and you want to learn more You want to go deeper with this work. You want to heal that attachment trauma. You want to know your protector parts and really heal those as well so you can embody your core secure self. I want to introduce you to Securely Attached. Now, this is a brand new signature program, but you might have heard me talking about this in my content. It's been in the works for a while. It's been a few months now that I've been building this program, and it really is set upon the 4+ years that I have been coaching and doing therapy work with clients online, but also a lot of what I have been doing in my social work as well. This is the roadmap to get you from anxious to secure. It is everything that you need all in one place. And it gives you that result, very simply put, securely attached. So, what is the program? So, what you will get being part of Securely Attached, you will have lifetime access to 9 educational pre-recorded video modules and resources and workbooks to support you on your journey from anxious to embody secure attachment. So it's all well and good collecting all the educational information, but how much are we then actually embodying this work? So even though these video modules are educational, they are also going to encourage you to embody all of the work as well. And to help you do that, we are going to have weekly calls, live group coaching calls via Zoom that is going to support you on your journey. So this is me going to help you and challenge you to embody and to hold you accountable to the embodiment part of the program as well. It's going to be a combination of teaching and coaching and real-time support, as well as real live embodiment practices. We're also going to have a private support group via Facebook where you get to be an active part of a community and start to be around like-minded people and connect with like-minded people. It can be very powerful when you know that you're not alone on this and there's people around the world doing the work with you that are encouraging you, supporting you. Having a group in your back pocket is just so priceless when you're going through something and you just want some advice or just to check in with, am I doing the right thing, or do I have any other options? This can be very valuable to share your wins, share your breakthroughs as well, so we can celebrate you. So, securely attached, like I said, it is a combination of a course. So, you're going to have those modules, but I don't believe that a course is going to be that thing that is going to really support you. Like I said, we all have courses and have downloaded courses to give us all the information that we need, but how much are we then embodying it? This is why I've added on the coaching calls. But you will have lifetime access to the course itself. So you can always go back to it and watch those modules. But the coaching calls is a 12-week package, and this is designed so you take action, because if we feel like we've got it there all the time, then it's just kind of sitting on the shelf, and that's not what we want. I want to support you to get you in that space of feeling so solid in yourself, so secure that when you're dating, you're not floating around like this emotional reaction plastic bag, that when you're in relationships, you can really embody what it means to be securely attached and have those uncomfortable conversations, set those boundaries, be able to express yourself authentically, attune to your partner, not in a codependent way, but in an interdependent way, and be able to support yourself and your own needs through this as well. So the private support group, the live workshops, exclusive live workshops that we will be doing ad hocly as well. I sometimes invite guest speakers to come in and tell us a little bit about different topics that may not be covered in the program itself. It's a whole hand-holding process to get you from A to B, to get you from feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and maybe sabotaging relationships, or choosing, like subconsciously choosing partners that are not willing to meet you halfway and not, willing to give anything to a relationship. They're just sucking it all from you because you're overgiving, to a place of anchored, secure, calm, focused, able to really see and observe and get curious to what's going on rather than taking everything personally. The whole shebang costs around $5,500. Well, lucky for you, Oh, I got a few bonuses as well before we go into that. A few bonuses. So there are conscious communication scripts that I will be gifting you as well, so that you can use these when you express your feelings, your boundaries, your needs and desires as you embody your secure self. So like I said, if I just threw these at you without the program, yes, you can use them. But you might be in a lot of fear using them. You might not even use them at all. It might not land so well because there's just still a lot of fear and anxiety around this. Or but my goal here is to be able to have you embody this, so you don't need scripts. You don't need someone telling you what to do. You already know naturally. It's like second nature to you how to communicate effectively, calmly, and consciously. The second bonus here is a feminine energetics workshop. So this is the one for the ladies. You've got exclusive access to a live bonus workshop from a guest speaker, all about feminine energetics and embodiment. So you can consciously step into your feminine in life and love. Now, this program, I have to say, is actually for women. But if you are a man here as well, you are always very welcome to inquire about the one-on-one program. But this program is specifically for women at this time. If we have enough men, I can run one for men. If you are curious of having a group coaching program for men, just let me know and I'll see if I can put one together. But basically, this program is going to take you through the 3 stages of secure attachment. The first one is to awaken to the patterns, awaken to the stuck emotions and trauma that is in the body, awaken to the behavior, the sabotaging behavior, and your beliefs and your thoughts and the nervous system. Completely awaken all of these programmings so we know what we're working with. We know what beliefs are being run in the background. Without awakening all of this, your inner world, how can we work with it? A lot of people don't take the time to do this, to really start to build a relationship with their nervous system, to really start to build a relationship with their subconscious mind. And then from that space, we can start to align ourselves with our core secure self. We can start to embody those types of behaviors of confidence, of starting to set those boundaries, of really understanding what our inner child needs, of starting to understand all the different parts that make up us and which ones we can start to choose and let go of. Start to align ourselves with this core sense of peace and security. And then the third one is anchor. Anchor ourselves into those secure attachment skills. Anchor ourselves into knowing how to communicate effectively, how to express ourselves authentically, and how to resolve conflict with confidence and ease. So before we go any further, how does this sound to you guys? Does this sound like something that you need, that excites you? If it doesn't, that's absolutely fine. I hope that the training was beneficial and valuable for you anyway. But if you do want to go deeper, is this sounding like something that you need? Let me know. And if you're watching this on replay, you can let me know in the DMs as well if this program is interesting you right now, is lighting you up, is like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for all my life. Let me know. Okay, so just a quick run through of how this method, this program, has worked for my clients. So I want to introduce you to Anya. She came to me feeling severely triggered in her relationship. She was made to feel like she wasn't good enough. She was overly attached to her partner and what he thought of her, and self-sacrificing parts of herself in order to please him because she was so scared that he will leave. As she worked with me and started her journey towards secure attachment, those rose-tinted glasses fell off. She started to see things about her partner that she couldn't see before, which led her to leave the relationship. She started to notice that actually it was not the healthiest of dynamics for her to be in. And now she's dating and meeting men. This is the one that's traveling the world in a van. There's meeting men from a space of presence, of love, of connection, and healthy detachment. She's really embodying what it means to be secure for herself. And this is some of the experiences that she has shared with me on her journey. So she feels like her needs have completely changed. She's really starting to understand who she really is outside of a codependent relationship, getting to know herself again and getting to choose who she wants to be. And from this space, she's attracting from her energy these beautiful people. and going from anxious to people pleasing, like a dried out little girl, as she describes it, to a thriving and blooming woman. And she's loving her single era. So really proud of Anya. And then we got Julie. She's the one that found her relationship after attracting partners that are emotionally abusive. And she thought that it was something wrong with her. So on her journey, she started to prioritize herself, understand all those different parts, and completely rewired the way that she thinks of herself and of love and of men, regulated her nervous system, and as a result, she attracted the man of her dreams. So this is some of her experiences where she completely transformed the way that she shows up, not only in relationships, but in her work as well. She got a promotion while we were working together, which is so cool. That she really leveled up in all areas, in all capacities. And lastly, we have Yulene, the beautiful Yulene. She was in a relationship with a secure partner, just like myself back then, but feeling very deeply insecure and anxious that she wasn't good enough for him, that he would eventually leave, that they would one day wake up and decide that actually she wasn't good enough for him. She wasn't worthy of what he has to offer, and he would just walk through the door. Now, she tried everything, podcasts, just consuming content on TikTok, watching reels, journaling, even formal therapy, but nothing seemed to work. But in the program, we were able to work with our nervous system, change her relationship to emotions, because she's a type A ambitious girly and she wants things fixed now. She wants to feel a certain way now. We really had to slow everything down for her so we could invite that core secure self to come through, to feel confident and meet her own needs without projection. And this is some of her experiences during the program as well. Okay, so we have some of our clients' journeys, but now this is about you. This is about your journey and what you're wanting for yourself and whether this program is right for you. So, some transparency here. What I'm not going to teach you is strategies and tactics of how to get someone to be in relationship with you. I'm not going to teach you how to get someone emotionally addicted to you or how to get your ex back and say this and do that. If that's what you're here for, then probably this is not the program for you. If you just want to be told what to do and be given like scripts and just strategies, of course, we're going to work with strategies, but it's not the core of what this program is. Maybe it's not for you. What I am going to teach you is embodiment. This is all about healing and embodiment, healing attachment wounds and trauma so you can embody, so you secure self naturally. So you're no longer pretending to be the chill girl. So you're no longer forcing yourself to be someone that you're not. Instead, you are going to take the time, because it takes time. I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. It takes time, effort, energy to be able to get to that space. But I promise you it's worth it. It's worth the investment. The energetic, the financial, the time investment to be able to be that person that you deserve to be, that you are. We just need to remove that conditioning. We need to remove the trauma and the limiting beliefs that are blocking you from accessing that version of yourself. Now, you might be thinking, Sammy, that all sounds great, but I think I can do this by myself. If so, great. But I will question, how long have you been doing it by yourself? And is progress being made? If so, great. Maybe you don't even need to be here. But if you're noticing that there are blocks there, that you have been doing this by yourself for a while, or you want quicker results because you want to work closely with someone who has walked the walk, talked the talk, and has the directions to where you're going, then maybe a program would be great for you. What if it doesn't work? Totally get it. Skeptical is normal. Doubt is normal. And this is why I shared with you my clients' journeys. This is why I shared with you proof that what I'm offering here is tried and tested. It works. I'm 100% confident in my methods that it will work for you. If it doesn't work, then we need to evaluate why. I don't really have an example where it just hasn't worked. Maybe it's just not the program for you, if so. And we can have a conversation about that. But what I will say in all transparency, there's always a risk when you choose a program or you choose a coach or you choose anything that is going to support you to achieve certain goals. And at the end of the day, it's all down to you. You are in the driver's seat here. I'm not going to take that driver's wheel for you. I'm in the passenger seat with the directions and the flashlight. I'm guiding you. I'm telling you where to go, what needs to happen, which turns to take, how to stop, how to go. But you are still in that driver's seat. I'm not taking the wheel from you. So then we will look at what is blocking you from really giving this your all if it doesn't work. What if I don't believe I can do it? And let me know if any of these are resonating in the chat as well. What if I don't believe I can do it? Sometimes the belief in our own capacity to be able to make change gets in the way. And I want to honor that. Sometimes we've been led to doubt ourselves and our capacity to change. And sometimes we think it's better to just stay comfortable in what we know and not make change and not take risks and not step outside the comfort zone. But what kind of life is that? We want to be able to live this amazing full life, but what that means is taking risks sometimes. So what I will say, if you're battling with this, what if I don't believe I can do it, is to just challenge yourself. Very small steps. And this is what this program's all about. And then you can start to build the belief in yourself, because I believe in you. I fully believe in you, and you've got a community behind you that believes in you, and you can ride off of that until you build up that belief in yourself. But you do have the capacity to change, I promise you. What if I don't get the results I want? Like I said, this is not a 100% guarantee. Nothing in life is, but sometimes we expect it. But nothing in life is 100% certain. Think about it. So funnily enough, a lot of clients sometimes don't get the result they want. So maybe they come into the program and they want that relationship, but what they've got is something better. They've got a relationship with themselves. They've got confidence. They've got self-assurance. They've got tools where they can keep themselves in such a grounded and present space that actually the desire, the weight of a relationship is not so strong anymore, because I know that I am going to be fine regardless. And that in and of itself is the biggest prize, to be able to take the heavy weight of needing a relationship away. But instead, I can have one from a space of energetic alignment, of attracting it with ease rather than desperation. I don't have the time. We're all busy people, right? We don't have the time. This is why I've given you lifetime access to the video modules. And this is why I've been able to condense it all down into these weekly calls, because I don't want to take up all your time. We have shit to do, right? But then how much time are you already spending on reading books and listening to podcasts and doing free masterclasses and absorbing free resources? It all builds up instead of really focusing on one thing that you can give all your all to. So we do have the time. It's just about allocating it, prioritizing it, and getting honest with ourselves of how are we spending our time. I wonder how much time we spend scrolling on social media, looking for those answers when it's just right here. And I don't think I can afford it. So we do have some options for you as well. If you feel like you are already making assumptions that maybe it is out of your budget. So let's take a look. So with all of this, it is about $8,000 total plus. But lucky for you, I'm not going to charge you $8,000. Instead, there is an early bird investment of $997 for everything. For the lifetime access to the curriculum, for the weekly coaching calls, for the private support group with the community, the live workshops, the bonus things as well, the whole hand-holding process. Only for $997, guys. That is an absolute steal. And what I will say, it is the early bird pricing as well. This program will not be as cheap as it is now, or cost effective, shall I say. I don't like the word cheap because this is not cheap. Most cost effective price that you can get right now. And it will go up in price as well. We also have a monthly plan. If the $997 is too much too soon for you, we can break it down into 3 monthly payments of $350 as well. So to make it more accessible for you. But here's the thing, it's not open yet. So this early bird investment is only for you guys here on the masterclass, whether you're live or watching this on replay, because when it does launch in April, it will be the normal price of 1,497. So this is the only time to get it at the early bird price. And the way that you can do this is to either join the waitlist. So you can join the waitlist and be the first to know when this program is open and get access to that early bird investment. And it will only be for the first few days. So if you do join the waitlist, you have to be a bit vigilant as to when that email will drop. And I will do my best to let you know on social media as well. You can go to sammyreedcoaching.com/securely attached. And I'm going to drop the link as well in an email, in your replay email, so you can access the website that way as well. And just pop your name and email into the waitlist and you're in. And that's it, my loves. Oh, that has been a lot. That definitely, oh my God, we are nearly at 2 hours. Totally broke my own time boundary, but I hope that has been super helpful for you. All right, loves, thank you again so much for being here with me. I hope that it was super valuable. If there are any other questions that come up, don't hesitate to reach out. And I will now wish you good night. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.